Love it, love it. Hey, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Weather Academy. I'm meteorologist Tom DeVecchio with meteorologist Craig Flint. We've talked about a lot of the tools of weather. We've talked about instruments. And today we're going to put a place where our head is in most of the time. Would you not agree?
It definitely is on a Monday, right? We're going to talk about clouds. Clouds are cool because they can tell you a lot about what's going to happen with the weather. And first of all, a lot of response about what we're doing here. And we thank you so much. We were wondering how this was going to go, and it's great seeing all the emails as you kind of hang out with two weather dweebs.
Absolutely, and we've heard from several teachers. I know a lot of you who are watching, whether live here or when we post it, are part of cyber schools. But we want to say special hello to Lori Santos's class from Parker Middle School, and hello to Tracy Elementary School, 3rd grade. Oh my gosh, I am so embarrassed. Mrs. Miller, yes, I couldn't remember the yes. Shout out to both of you and any other schools. Let us know, teachers, if you have your kids doing it, if your students doing it as a either whether it's a class project or actually part of the curriculum. Please fire an email off to us. We'll like to give you a shout out, of course, and it lets us know, how many are actually using this as part of your curriculum.
Yeah. And the kiddos who have chimed in, great questions, keep them coming. So we've covered kind of the basic building blocks, what we do, the tools we use. We talked a little bit about the water cycle, which is ever so important.
That's right.
Clouds are part of the water cycle.
They are.
And we're going to break those down for you today. Now, there are many, many types of clouds, but
Dozens.
You know what? We're going to focus on 3 or 4 of just the basic ones that you see in the sky and probably will see today. And by the way, just a quick reminder as I go off the fly here. If you can't be here at 10:30, this is posted online. It's yourerie.com weather. You can click on the weather tab at the top. There's going to be a little drop down and you'll see Weather Academy right in there if you want to catch up on what we've been talking about in past episodes. All right, shall we get started, my friends?
Absolutely.
All right. So we mentioned several types of clouds, and we'll kind of break a few of them down for you today. The first one we'll start with, this is what the National Weather Service's cloud identification chart.
Now, the official chart, yes.
I know it's hard to see, but if you go to weather.gov or you just Google the types of clouds, this chart will pop up and you can really kind of get a breakdown of just how many there are. And like Tom said, there are dozens and dozens of them.
Dozens, a lot of subsets. I mean, those what you see there are just the basics. We have others, cloud names that I can't even pronounce. Don't know my Latin too well. Cumulus castellanus. I mean, I've always enjoyed those kind. But those are some of the basics. And clouds are determined. They're determined by their height, and they're named by their height, and how they form, and how those clouds
so we
form.
break it down in 3 levels: high, mid-level, and lower level. So your lower level guys are like the stratus clouds or anything with a stratus. Alto, mid, and then as you get way up high, we start talking more about like cirrus clouds and stuff like that. So we're going to take a look at some of those, and we'll start off with some clouds that you're probably going to see in the sky today.
That's right, then. This is actually the 4th type of clouds that we call convective clouds. The other 3 by height are usually based on other types of stability and how warm air interacts with cold air. Convective clouds are clouds that form usually from the heating of the ground. Typical summertime, and the air gets lighter and it takes that moisture up. So these are what we call cumulus. Cumulus is Latin for heap. Okay, think of heaping mashed potatoes on your plate or cauliflower, and they are, as Craig has here, they're generally friendly clouds, and they usually mean nice weather as long as they don't what we call vertically develop.
Right.
We have what we call cumulus humulus and cumulus congestus.
Right.
The humulus are the friendly clouds, and that's what you see there. When you look at the clouds there on the left side, on the actual graphic there, they're not really tall. They're flat on the bottom. Now they can be gray on the bottom, but they tend to be at the top, not building too much, but that can change with the other types of cumulus.
Yeah, I mean, and we have a little asterisk there. These could grow into thunderstorms on a humid day, especially. But generally speaking, those are those puffy, well, friendly clouds. I like to call them humble
I
clouds.
like them, yes.
You know, they just kind of hang out up there and make your day awesome. And we have some awesome weather for that today. So if you want to go out, I actually think there's a an actual what's the word I'm looking for? Subject or concentration on the study of clouds, and I can't remember.
There is. Cloudology or something
Yeah,
like that.
it's like, no, it starts with an N. Nephology, something like that. It's not important.
Right.
All I'm saying is there are scientists that actually study the behavior of clouds, and I believe there's an international society for cloud watchers.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There are several weather societies that really hone in on certain, relatively narrow aspects of weather. And yes, there are.
I think it's called the International Cloud Appreciation Society
probably,
or something like that.
It's probably something like that,
Interesting.
Yes.
So that's the cumulus cloud. They look like cotton balls in the sky. And imagine this, a young lad named Craig. And you're driving down the road and you're with your grandmother and you're looking at those cumulus clouds in the sky. The thing about these is you could actually pick out little designs in them. Like that one may look like a turtle or that one may look like a dog, so pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, cumulus clouds are great for identifying. Little different caricatures sometimes in the sky.
All right, onward we go with our journey of clouds. The next one, we go way up high.
You got it.
Way up high. And we are called cirrus clouds. These are called cirrus clouds, 25,000 to 30,000 feet high. So if you were to take the atmosphere and tilt it into the vertical, they'd be at the very top, way up there. And the cool things about these, they're made of ice. And another cool thing about cirrus clouds is when you have a deck of high cirrus clouds and the sunlight goes through them, you can get all kinds of cool optics because the light passes through those crystals. And we kind of talked about this last time.
We did.
And you can kind of get a little bit of bending and refracting of the light, which kind of gives you those. There's a technical term for them. I just call them sundogs.
Sure. Yes.
I think it's called circumzenithal arc or something like that.
They're definitely, and those are, we have halos and other things, and it's probably a subject that we will tackle in a future segment for the most part. And but these are the kind of clouds that will do that. And yes. They are, 25, 30,000, so about 5 to 6 miles high.
Yeah, and the thing about cirrus clouds is these are really important for meteorologists and for you out there as well because they signify an approaching storm. So 300 some odd years ago, that's how farmers used to tell that there was weather incoming before satellites and technology and all that stuff. You see that kind of blow off of those high cirrus clouds coming in. So if you're in a day, like it's not going to happen today, but let's take today for example. Well, actually it might later.
It might, never know.
And you look up in the sky and you kind of see that kind of filmy, kind of milky look to the sky. Those are cirrus clouds coming in. Now they'll vary, most of the time they're high, but the day you're in, so if it were today's going to be fine, but that should tip you off if you see cirrus clouds coming in that the next day might not be so nice. And it's also kind of a little tricky because cirrus clouds can sometimes signify a storm is leaving too on the backside.
Sure.
But generally speaking, as a general rule, if you see cirrus clouds coming in, that should tip you off that, the weather's going to change within a day or two.
Absolutely. And one of the things you may want to look at, and this goes back to my middle school years, middle school students, one of the things we did, if you have a good barometer and a good cloud chart, like Craig was saying, they can signify a storm, especially if you see the cirrus clouds come in and you see the pressure start to drop, which you'll probably see later this afternoon and tonight. That's indicative of weather system coming in. May not be a full-fledged storm. It might just be light rain or precipitation. But if the barometer is steady or rising and the cirrus comes in, maybe nice the next day. But if it's starting to fall, you might be seeing some precip.
Good qualifier, good catch. You know, barometer. We talked about barometers and the importance of that. So you couple that with identifying cirrus clouds, and you could make yourself a little weather forecast.
There you go.
Just like the pros
Be
do.
an amateur forecaster.
Is that you and me, or is that someone else?
Well, it could. Sometimes the way the forecast goes, you wonder, are we pros or amateurs?
So we talked about cumulus, those puffy, cauliflower cotton-looking clouds in the sky. Cirrus clouds, way up high. So for the kids watching, remember, if you hear cirrus, way up there, way up there, and they're made of ice. Let's ratchet it down a notch, though.
Absolutely.
And we'll take you down to the lowest clouds that are in the sky.
And these are stratus. Strato in Latin means low, hence the name. That's where stratus comes from. So a lot of your typical stratus clouds, they're low clouds. They can have some precipitation in the form of rain, sleet, snow. Actually, we had some spots early this morning had stratus clouds because fog is considered a stratus cloud. We had a lot of dense fog inland for this morning. And, you know, they are definitely the lowest clouds in the sky. Rarely are they over 6,000 feet, so they tend to be a mile or less typically in the sky. And if they're thick enough, yes, you can get some rain, snow, and sleet. Typically, you won't get stratus. The precipitation is what we call uniform. Right. That is, it falls at the same rate throughout the day.
Equal opportunity, everyone kind of gets it.
Where your cumulus clouds, you know, if it does rain, usually it's scattered. Maybe heavy stop, heavy stop. Here you get more uniform type of precip.
So how you want to think of stratus clouds? We mentioned they're the lowest clouds in the sky, and sometimes they can be right at the ground, which would mean fog. But stratus clouds are lazy. They just kind of hang out, and they can be stubborn. They may be like some of you kids Saturday morning that don't want to get out of bed.
Yes,
right?
yes.
You want to sleep late. Those are the stratus clouds. So they're usually kind of that slate gray, kind of gloomy look to the sky. Now, if they're actually precipitating rain, snow, sleet, or freezing rain, they are actually considered nimbo stratus, which means, and all that means is, you're obviously an expert at the Latin here, Tom.
Nimbo stands for water.
Yeah,
Nimbo
okay.
is water.
That, all I was going to say was that means if you hear the term nimbostratus, that means it's actually doing something from the cloud. It's actually raining or precipitating. Otherwise, if it's just a gray day, it's just a stratus cloud, same old stratus cloud. So we've kind of covered the three basic types of clouds, but as we mentioned at the top of the show, there are tons of clouds.
Many varieties.
And our cohort, Tom Atkins, and I didn't have time to get it on, but mentioned the word lenticular cloud.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. Those form at mountaintops. They look like flying saucers.
They are really, I mean, if you Google lenticular clouds, you're going to find some really cool shapes, you know, because the air patterns over mountains can cause the clouds to do some really strange shapes.
Right. And you could also, I mean, there's a bunch of others, you know, there's a cloud that actually, Tom came up to me the other day and he goes, hey, take a look at this. And they were like little wave clouds. They were like little curls out over the lake.
Yeah, like literally waves.
Yeah. Kelvin
Helmholtz. Kelvin Helmholtz waves,
waves. And Tom was like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's a thing. So the bottom line is there's a ton of different clouds. We wanted to kind of cover the basic ones, though. And here's some of the other types. This is just a list. We're probably not going to go too much into these, but you know, we covered cumulus, stratus, and cirrus clouds. And some of the other types, when you throw some other terms in there, you have the cirrostratus clouds, which tend to be a little thicker in terms of, you know, they're not as thin as they are way up high in the sky.
One of the descriptions that you'll find maybe in classic meteorology books is like looking through a frosted glass.
Right.
Okay, like if you have a mug that's got frost on it, you can sometimes the sun, if it's real thick, you know, the sun may look more like
milky.
Milky. If it's thin, the sun will be a little more defined.
And then we have cirrocumulus clouds, which kind of have a little bit of definition to
They
them.
do. They might actually be the true definition of cotton balls because they're usually little small puffs that look like little cotton balls.
As we go into the low clouds, cumulonimbus, stratocumulus, again, these are just kind of qualifiers that just kind of break down the height of where they are.
And cumulonimbus are your classic they're the classic thunderstorm clouds.
Yeah. Those big ones that you see
big dark
out,
ones,
like in the plain states. And then middle clouds, again, the word alto. Means mids, so you have altostratus, altocumulus. Again, stratus cumulus, same idea as what we were talking about with the basic cloud types, but the word, what's the term for that? Alto in front of it means they're in a different
they're
level
different
of the
levels,
atmosphere.
different height in the atmosphere.
And then there are just, we talked about nimbostratus briefly, and then the other types, asperatus.
I believe, yeah.
I believe. See?
Yeah,
See?
okay.
Even we.
I believe that's how. I haven't heard that term in a long time. So
we talked about fog being at the ground, and then this one is a really cool type of cloud. It's called a mammatus cloud. Now, look at the root of that word, mama. So they look like pouches in the sky. And those usually are a pretty good indicator that the weather's gonna get nasty.
yeah, yes. Again, if you Google it, you're going to find some of the Midwest. I mean, these are really, really. They're scary looking at times, especially if the sun is at the horizon and it goes. And the pouches are formed by the up and down motions, and when you have strong down, we talked about that. When we talked about hail, strong upward motion, strong downward motion, it actually causes some of those little protrusions out of the cloud, which the little pouches that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And that's what we call mammatus.
Yeah.
Mammatus.
Google those. They're pretty cool to look at. They really are. So we kind of just discussed some of the basic cloud types. So again, as always, we end with our question, what inspires you? Remember, it could be anything in the world. It doesn't have to be weather. We are focusing on meteorology here, though, so if you do have questions or if there's something that you'd like us to cover or answer, send it our way. The email is weather@wjettv, and remember, don't lose that inspiration. Find what interests you and learn as much as you can about it. We would love to hear from you. So if you have weather questions or if you have any ideas that you want to see, or any topics
what would
that
you
want
like
to
us
see
to talk
cover,
about? We'd like to hear from you because this is for you. This is for you, and that's what we would like to know. So that's our show. That's our Academy lesson for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. And along with that, again, teachers, homeschoolers, if you are actually using this for your curriculum, drop us a line as well. We'd like to know who it is, and we'll give you a shout out and say thank you. And hopefully this is working for you.
Now practice your social distancing, stay healthy, stay hydrated, and go out and look up today.
Yeah.
Check out some of those clouds.
Great weather. Just stay 6 feet apart from the other person and go and enjoy the weather. That's our show. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. We'll get through this all together, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Keep sending those questions. Take care.